Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be sharing my labor and delivery experience as a first-time mom. Everyone's experience is different, but I just wanted to share my experience as a first-time mom because I remember I was really scared to give birth and I would constantly watch YouTube videos on YouTube of other women's experience. I just thought that I enjoyed watching those and I hopefully am able to give a positive experience to someone else who is expecting or will expect in the future. My birth experience didn't go as planned, but it wasn't the most horrific thing that I had in mind either. I just want to share a positive side of my experience, even though it didn't go the way that I wanted it to, but it went as smoothly as it could have. And I am very thankful for the way that it turned out and that me and my son are healthy and doing well. Yeah, without further ado, let's get this video started. I found out I was pregnant around the end of April. Birthday is April 25th and I found out April 28th. My boyfriend was away in San Diego working, but I was supposed to go to San Diego with him for the weekend, for my birthday weekend. He drove all the way back to LA to pick me up and then we went straight back to San Diego. And I remember we were on our way from San Clemente to Oceanside. If you've ever driven to San Diego, there's no bathroom stops there. I really needed to go to the bathroom. Finally, we got to Oceanside and we stopped at a gas station. Unfortunately, there was someone in the restroom. I remember waiting 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, even 30 minutes, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go look for another restroom because I can't hold it anymore. And everything was closed. It was around 11 p.m. to 12 a.m. and everything was like closed for this gas station. And I honestly didn't think that I would make it to another gas station at another exit. I just remember looking at my boyfriend and just having a meltdown because I needed to go to the bathroom. That's how bad it was. I ended up going like in the middle of nowhere behind a tree because I couldn't hold it, and usually I've been able to hold my peace. My second sign was I was cramping for a couple days and I just thought that my period was gonna come and it never came and I was still waiting, and that day I was still cramping. And then I got sexually active with my man that day and the cramping went away and I was like, that's weird. Usually my cramps wouldn't go away until I get my period. My third sign was when we were at the San Diego Zoo. I hadn't eaten all morning and we finally decided to get something to eat. I just remember not being able to eat my food. I ate like half of my food and I hadn't eaten all day. I was already having food aversions. I looked at my boyfriend and I was like, I need to take a test. When I get home, I need to go to CVS and buy a pregnancy test because my body is being weird. I had two memorable memories when I was pregnant. One was my gender reveal, just because I was super excited to know if it was gonna be a he or she, and the second one was my baby shower because I got to celebrate with all of my family and invite my friends. My gender reveal was just my close family, my mom, my dad, my sister, my brothers. I did go into the hospital having a birth plan, but it didn't go as planned, and that's okay as long as me and baby were healthy and no complications came from delivery. That was all that mattered to me. Some of the things that were in my birth plan included a vaginal delivery, an epidural, delayed cord clamping, and tearing on my own if I needed. I didn't want them to cut me if baby's head couldn't come out. Those were just the ones that I remember that were on my list. I didn't have signs of going into labor because I ended up delivering a month earlier, so I ended up delivering right when I got to 9 months. I was 36 weeks pregnant, and the reason that I ended up going to the hospital was because I had an appointment with my OBGYN on December 2nd, and when I went to my appointment I ended up having high blood pressure and protein in my urine, which both are pretty dangerous because you can get preeclampsia. I was also very swelled from my feet. She let me go that day, but she did schedule me another day to go that week just so that they can monitor my blood pressure and my protein in the urine. I ended up going back on December 5th, which is that Thursday. My blood pressure was still high. The protein in my urine actually increased decreased and I was still swelled. At the end of that appointment, she ended up telling me that she didn't feel comfortable sending me home, that she was going to give me a note to take to the hospital, and that the hospital was going to take it from there and they were going to monitor me. I ended up going to the hospital right after that appointment, and they monitored me for about 4 hours before I was actually admitted. They would take my blood pressure every 15 to 30 minutes, and I spiked twice, like super high, where my blood pressure was to the point where I can have a stroke. They ended up not letting me go home. Once I got admitted, I was a mixture of scared and happy. I was scared because I wanted to vaginally deliver, but I was also very scared of vaginally delivering. But I was even more scared of being cut open because I've never had surgery before. I was very scared, but I was also very happy because my baby was supposed to come after Christmas, and I really wanted him to come before Christmas, like a few days before, and he did come before, and I was just ready to hold and bring him to the world. My mom was the one to take me to the hospital because my baby daddy was working and he wasn't gonna get home till like 5 or 6, and I got admitted at 4 p.m. I actually got to the hospital at 10. I ended up getting admitted at around 4 p.m. It was just my mom and my boyfriend like supporting me at that time, and once I had the baby, the rest of my family ended up coming to see me. If you can hear my baby, he's right here in his bassinet. The journey to the hospital was very smooth because I ended up taking a hospital tour because I've never been to this hospital, and before I go to the PIH right by where I live. That's where I was born, but unfortunately the insurance that I have didn't cover me at that hospital, so I had to go to one in LA, and I don't really know where anything's at there. I ended up booking a hospital tour just so I can get familiar and I could know where to go, which worked out perfectly because it made everything more smoothly for me to know where to go and where to check in. Yeah, it was just a great experience overall with the hospital tour. If you are a new mom, I highly recommend getting a hospital tour. That way you know where the entrance is to the birthing center. At my hospital tour, I got to ask questions. We saw the rooms. We saw where like the C-section recovery was gonna be. We basically saw everything. And it just made my experience and made me feel a lot more comfortable knowing what was gonna happen. It's really important to know like the visiting hours and just basic information that you would need. When I got to the hospital, I didn't have contractions because I wasn't dilated at all. I was at 0 centimeters. They ended up having to put a Foley balloon, and that was supposed to get me from 0 to 3 centimeters dilate, and it did. And then the balloon was supposed to fall out. It did fall out at around like 4 a.m. on the 6th of December, and then they started me on Pitocin, and I got to about 4 centimeters. I remember like the nurses coming every like hour to switch me positions, and I thought that was normal because again, I've never given birth, so for me that just seemed like it was normal. But it turns out that the baby heart rate was actually not at a good level, and they were monitoring it all night, probably because he wasn't ready to come out. And so they ended up telling me in the morning that like they didn't want to continue inducing me because the baby's heart rate was up and down, up and down, up and down, and they also couldn't let me continue to be pregnant because my blood pressure was high. I would have to get an emergency C-section. And when they told me that, girl, I was scared. Sorry, I'm really thirsty. I just felt like my heart dropped because this is the first surgery I'm ever gonna have in my life, and I think it was more of I'm gonna be awake type of thing that scared me more. It was just me and my boyfriend. My mom was still not at the hospital because she went home to sleep. I did end up getting the epidural at around 3 centimeters after the Foley balloon fell out because the contractions were pretty painful. I think like people who get induced can agree with me that the contractions are a lot more painful to get induced when you dilate by yourself. My only complication was that I had high blood pressure and the protein in the urine, but other than that, pregnancy went smoothly. During my C-section, I stayed calm because my partner was on the side of me and I felt safe even though I was gonna go through the surgery. He just made me feel safe, and he was grabbing my hand. He had the puking bag like right next to my face because I felt like I needed to puke. I was dizzy, and I felt like that about 2 or 3 times, and then I would subsidize and then would come back. I had nothing in my system, so I couldn't throw up anything. I also had the shakes. I was like shaking like crazy, but I think it was because it was was cold in the room and because I was scared. At the end of once I heard my baby cry, I pretty much saw him for a little bit and then I ended up knocking out. I don't know if it was because of the drugs that they put or because I couldn't get any sleep that night because they were coming and checking on me and moving me and changing my IV stuff. I ended up falling asleep while they were stitching me up, which was great because that I didn't feel any pressure because I was asleep. Yeah, that was pretty much my experience. The first time that I held my baby was something called the golden hour. The hospital called it a golden hour, and it's practically where you have an hour with the baby on your chest and before you go into your recovery room, and you're able to bond with them and you have 1 hour to yourself without any like nurses or doctors coming in and out checking on you or taking your baby's vitals or taking your vitals. My baby was born very healthy. He weighed 5 pounds and 1 ounce. He was super tiny. He did lose weight after, which kind of made me a little worried because he ended up going down to 4 pounds and like 10 ounces, which is super tiny. My experience versus my expectations was definitely not the same. But again, it's okay because at the end of the day, I have my baby, he's healthy, and I'm healthy and I'm doing great. I learned a lot about myself during this pregnancy. I learned that it is not easy being a parent. It is not easy being pregnant, and you kind of distance yourself from a lot of people. I lost a lot of friends during pregnancy and I lost a lot of motivation to go out or like have a good time with friends because I was always sick. I had very, very bad vomiting and very bad headaches, so most of the time I was sick and I didn't really want to do anything or go out. Postpartum, I'm also like that. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would very, very appreciate it. And if you guys would like to see any related content, or if you guys would like me to start a series of like mommy content, let me know. I did have my 6-week postpartum appointment today and I have to go back though because I didn't get cleared. I thought I was gonna get cleared because I want to go back to the gym, but I didn't get cleared. But if you want me to do a postpartum recovery story, let me know in the comments. If you would like to share your experience, your labor and delivery experience in the comments, feel free to. I would love to read your guys' experiences and how different it was from mine. Thank you for watching and see you on the next one.